And we're live with the Clydesdale Fitness and Friends podcast, Rig Report, Clydesdale Media, all of that stuff. And this is the final wrap-up show of the Mid-Atlantic CrossFit Challenge. And it did not disappoint at all. It was such a fun event to watch. Leaderboards changed for 2 out of the 3 groups on the last event. So it was crazy.
Let's look at the leaderboards, shall we? So we got teams. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Julie's coming back from the pool.
Okay. No surprise, CrossFit Mayhem Independence, took the win there. I think it was interesting that Shoefly, I think they made a run their last day. Or no, they were always kind of in the mix. Tell us about the difference between 5th and 6th, because for points, 5th, 6th, and 7th were all tied.
Yeah. Well, 5th had 10 more points.
Oh, because I can't read. Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
10 points in.
But
And
it was, it shifted a lot.
That was Colton Merton's girlfriend Allie's team, right?
Kilo 2 was, yes.
Yeah. Was
she's
Colton
going
there?
to the games. He was not.
Okay. He needs to be training for
Granite
Games.
Games.
Oh, really? Why not?
Her employer will not let her off to go to Granite Games.
Oh, that stinks. Ew. Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know much about these teams, but you did talk to Kilo 2. Did you talk to any other teams?
All of the top 5 we've talked to this weekend.
Okay.
So Coda United we talked to yesterday, but I have Shoefly and Camo to come out today. Kilo 2 just went on the internet, and I talked to Luke Parker from Independence.
Awesome. Okay.
But I have Shoefly loaded, and it is funny.
Oh, okay. You want to do that?
So, and if for those who don't know, Kat and I interviewed Shaylin Laurie last year because she was the law enforcement officer, fittest woman in the world. And she is actually the captain of Shoefly. And so that is her team. And here is their interview. All right. I am here with CrossFit Shoefly, who just punched their ticket to the CrossFit Games, taking second place at the MACC. How you guys feeling right now?
Sore.
Yeah, we're getting there. We're getting sore.
We are, yeah. We feel really good. Super excited.
Yeah.
So you started off the weekend with big lifts and finished it with a lot of worm and toes to bar.
Yes.
Yep.
Craziness, yeah.
Today was the highest volume day, and it was hard. Very hard.
Whoa.
Especially with 2 workouts back to back.
Yeah.
But we made
I was just going to ask about the turnaround. How much difference did that make?
Whoever programmed it, I don't know if they intended it to be that quick, but it was gnarly. The stimulus from going from a 25-minute chipper, corralling 15 minutes later, and then going into a sprint style.
I knew as soon as we started the first 12 thrusters, at the end of that set, I was like, this is going to be a terrible workout.
A different workout than we practiced.
Different.
Yeah, different.
So last question, what are you doing to celebrate tonight?
I'm going to have wine and charcuterie.
wine and charcuterie with Shaylin. I don't know about the boys.
A few beers.
Couple shots, line of Coke. No, I'm playing with you. Just a couple beers, that'll be it.
Drug test is over, but that doesn't mean you can go crazy. All right, guys. Well, congratulations and good luck in Madison.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
I didn't even know there was
they
someone
were
back
a
there in
lot
the
of fun.
corner. That's funny.
Yeah. So that's the guy who hit the big snatch on
Yeah.
this Friday
Yep.
that I posted pictures of. Who, they're a fun team, and they're fun to hang out with, and I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, very cool. All right, let's go to the leaderboard. We have a a guest appearance from JoJo. Leaderboard. All right, here we go. Share. I got to get better at this. So the women, our girl, Danielle Brandon, had a great second day. Clean sweep.
And she hammered the gas on today. It was
Yeah,
not even a contest.
it was really fun to watch. Sydney McAlishan, no surprise there. You know, she had a solid weekend. Bailey Rail, you know, doesn't have to go through that last chance qualifier now. She's exceptionally in there. And then Brooke Wells, of course, took fourth. And then in a nail biter of a finish between Rebecca and Kelly Clark, Rebecca Fusilier is going to be going to the CrossFit Games. So cool.
Yeah,
I wasn't so sure about those lunges and how that was going to all pan out. But yeah.
Yeah, she looked really solid until she had to drop right at the end, which made my heart skip a beat. But for there only to be 2 points between fourth and sixth,
Yeah, that's insane.
is insane.
Yeah, I
'Cause
was.
Brooke Wells was 443, Rebecca was 442, and Kelly Clark was 441.
Yeah, and I wasn't so sure that Brooke had made it based on her performance in that last event either. It was kind of she was obviously visibly not so sure before they announced her name. You know, she looked very worried. But
Yeah, her
what
whole
an
camp looked
accomplishment
worried.
for her. Yeah, what an accomplishment for her coming back, 9 months after surgery and punching her ticket. So that's pretty cool. And then we've got Kelly Clark, Shelby Neal, and Lindsay Porter in those last chance qualifying spaces. And then my girl from Delaware, Megan O'Donnell, top 10. I think that was her goal. So she had a
Yeah,
nice
I actually
weekend as
talked to
well.
her out on the or whatever, that patio out in front afterwards,
Uh-huh.
and she was stoked about getting top 10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But I got to say, Rebecca, that to watch her after just meeting her a few weeks ago to where
Mhm.
she is today, going to the games, was so cool. And I need to
Yeah.
publicly thank you for having the idea to do that Meet the Athletes,
Oh yeah, no problem. She was great.
because
She's adorable.
it made this year so much fun, and
Mhm.
it'll continue to be fun moving into next week.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk about how Brooke Wells almost blacked out in the middle of that chipper event. Was that today? That was today, right? The wall
That was
balls and
yesterday.
Oh, did we talk about that already?
Yeah, that was the last event yesterday.
Okay. Life is hard
It all blurs
sometimes.
together.
It does. All right, let's go to the men. I should just leave this up, but I like pressing buttons. So we weren't so sure about Noah Ohlsen yesterday because he had a real rough start, but with 2 second place finishes, he squeaked in there. And the biggest surprise, or the coolest thing, was Spencer Panchik making it to the games for the first time.
So cool. I actually teared up.
Yeah.
When they announced his name. I've known the Pancheks for a long time, and it really hit me. So I couldn't be more stoked for Spence.
Yeah. So we've got and Dallin Pepper with a strong, dominant finish over the weekend. Being in that, outside looking in last year at the West Coast Classic, he definitely talked about how he filled his holes, and definitely deserves to be going to the games this year. I'm excited to see how he does. I think the biggest heartbreak for me was watching Tyler Christoffel just kind of fall apart at the end of that workout. It reminded me of the Granite Games last year when Emma Carey was getting no rep on her lunges. It was like he couldn't do anything right, and he could just see that spot kind of slipping away. That was really hard to watch.
Yeah. And I have to admit, I questioned the judging where I was sitting, but someone from the Mayhem camp actually came up to me after and said that they were legit calls, that he was shuffling his feet or he didn't have the bar locked out overhead when he came out of the lunge.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that last no rep was definitely legit, where he didn't hold on to it after he came up. But there was one point where, like the few lunges before then, it was almost like he was stepping and then just kind of stepping through. And it's almost like the judge called it a no rep before you would even know it could be called a no rep. So I don't know what he was looking at. So I wasn't too crazy about that first call, but the last call was definitely legit. When he went over the yellow line and just kind of dumped the bar, he lost it. That's a common mistake that those athletes make sometimes at the end when they're tired.
Yeah.
But anyway,
if the Mayhem camp is saying it's legit.
Well, true. Yeah. Right. Because they wouldn't have any trouble talking about it if it wasn't good calls. But Jake Berman, Tyler Christoffel, and Mitchell Stevenson, we'll see them in the last chance qualifier. And Tyler was really solid, up until that last, only 2 finishes outside the top 10. And I think he's got a really good chance at that last chance qualifying spot. Kind of like how Bailey Rail did it last year. Maybe he's just going to follow in his lady's footsteps and get that done.
Yeah, I think what was odd but understandable is that Bailey makes it to the games legit and is sad and crying because of what happened to Tyler.
Yeah. It's kind of like the Lazar Jukic and his brother, not making it, and Spencer and Saxon probably are feeling a little bittersweet too, that they're going and that their big brother's not going to be there. So there's a lot of that going around this year.
Yeah. But I agree with you. Tyler was solid all weekend until that last leg of that event.
Yeah. And I mean, really, if he could just finish at the pace that he started at, he would have solidly been in there for sure. Yeah, that's tough. Thoughts about Noah Ohlsen this weekend?
Thoughts about Noah Ohlsen. I thought he was the gritty veteran that he. I thought he was a gritty veteran that he's always been. He knows when to turn it on, and he trains hard enough that he can do that. And I actually heard him backstage on Saturday morning saying that he had to call his wife, and he was having some mental things that he had to get over, and she helped him work through that. And Saturday he was in a better place.
I'm guessing that he probably came into the weekend thinking maybe just underestimating the level of competition, and a lot of these athletes too, they're peaking for the games. They're not peaking for semifinals. He's not the kind of, he's such a perennial games athlete that you think he wouldn't have to, peak for this. Not that semis doesn't matter, but I'm sure a lot of them go in thinking, I just have to get through this weekend, and that they're sort of 2 steps ahead of themselves, maybe. And maybe that's kind of, where his mental space was. But, it was good to see him, come back. He's used to winning semifinals, regionals. Like he won a bunch of regionals before regionals went away. So I'm sure he's going to go back and reflect and sort of regroup to figure out, where he goes from here to get ready for Madison.
Yeah, and if you remember, after the games last year, he was questioning a lot of things, like the body weight at which he was trying to compete.
Right.
So there's probably a lot of questions in there, and that's my guess as to what was going on Friday night. Like, did I make the right or wrong decision? And he just needed some reassurance and some confidence. And that came back Saturday and definitely today.
Yeah, for sure.
And he was fired up.
Yeah, was he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's the part that we miss. We see all this sort of the camera work and details when we watch from home, but you definitely get to see a different side of things when you're there.
Yeah, we say it all the time. It's your own show. You're your own director when you're there live.
Yeah. Did someone get kicked out of the media pit?
That's what I've heard. I did not see it personally.
Okay.
I had an encounter with the person mentioned, and I don't want to say any names because I do not know this for a fact. I only saw what you saw, probably, unless you saw
Yeah.
more. But my wife and I had an encounter with that person, kind of pushing their way into a spot to get shots, and not
Where were you guys at
gently
that point in time?
or in the media pit. And that was yesterday.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I think from a media perspective, I love what we're doing at these semifinals. I love that we're highlighting, all of the athletes and not just the usual suspects. I think the athletes have really appreciated it. I think the event organizers appreciate it. And it's so cool to be able to tell people when they're asking about athletes, like, oh, we interviewed her, or oh, we interviewed him. Go check out our interview. It's been really cool. And I still have about, I think I'm doing 6 interviews tomorrow for Granite Games. I did 3 or 4 today. I can't remember. Because they all kind of blur. I need to go back and watch them all now to see who's who. But it's just been exciting. And, I got to talk to Anthony Davis today. He's the guy with the 340-pound snatch from Granite Games last year. And he's been working on filling some holes. And he's down about 25 pounds from his fighting weight last year. So he's really a different athlete. And it's going to be exciting to see him and all those other athletes that we talked to compete next week. So when do you head out? When do you go home? And then
Thursday. So I head home tomorrow, and then I'm out Thursday morning.
And are you flying or
I'll be
driving?
there like Thursday afternoon, flying.
Okay, because you drove to Knoxville,
Direct
right?
flight. I did. But before we go, there's just 2 little rants. One rant, and then I have a really special story I want to share.
Okay.
And one is, media. Yeah, I do think the event organizers appreciate us. The athletes definitely appreciate us. I was told that over and over and over again. Thank you for what you guys are doing. And the reason I think it's important is to grow the sport. You have to know all the players on the field. That first heat and that second heat have to be important. You have to have a vested interest in it. And you can't do that if you don't know who these people are. And when some of the biggest geeks, CrossFit geeks in the world, don't know who those people are, that's a problem.
Yeah.
I think CrossFit is missing the boat, and I'm on my rant. They act like we're competition. We are there to promote their sport. And we're treated like an outsider. If you go to an NFL game, the media press box is loaded with food and the media being taken care of so they can promote the game. It happens that way in baseball and basketball, all of those things. And in CrossFit, you're treated like a second-class citizen.
Yeah.
Now, I have more fun at semifinals because the event organizers treat us much better than at the games. But so that's just my rant. And you're never going to grow the sport unless you have people promoting the sport and the good things going on in the sport.
All of the sport, not just the tip of the spear, which is what we, which traditionally has been covered.
Right. Because not to brag, but who else had anything on Rebecca Fuselier coming into this?
Right. Nobody.
Right. That's why our interviews on Instagram are at 8,000 and 9,000 views.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But
it's like,
so anyway, that's my rant.
It's like the Annika Greer thing. Like nobody knew who she was until Lollapalooza. And we talked to her like 4 times before then.
Right.
I love it.
Well, the special story I have is we interviewed Marissa Flowers before MACC. And part of her story was that she had done TFX and she was just coming off pregnant. She's today only 11 months postpartum.
Oh, wow.
At TFX, she failed and actually could not even complete all the events. And it was a really bad taste in her mouth. And she was hoping that semis would be the answer. And I asked her that question in an interview and I got a surprise answer, but I wanted to share it with everybody.
Okay.
I am with Marissa Flowers, winner of Heat 2, Event 6. remind the audience, how tall are you?
I'm 4'10" and a half. You got to add that half in there. It matters.
So you just had to finish that with 115 pounds overhead walking lunges, and you did it like a boss.
Well, thanks. I didn't feel like a boss, but thanks.
That's got to be your body weight or higher.
Yeah, I sit around 110 usually.
So when we talked before this event, you had a bad taste in your mouth with your last competition.
Yes.
Did you flush it out this weekend?
You know, I was telling my husband this, and I know this is probably lame to say, but this weekend kind of just like set it in my heart. Like I kind of felt like I was kind of through with competing, you know, and then when I got here, it kind of set it in stone, and I realized my heart really isn't out on the competition floor anymore. I'm glad that I ended it on a good note. I don't expect to do any more comps for the time being. This is just not where my heart is. My heart's with my daughter and my husband, and I kind of just want to hang out with them.
And to remind our audience, you just had a baby like 10 or 11 months ago?
11 months ago, yeah. And sorry for being lame and saying like my heart isn't there, but it really, you know, it's fun and all, but like I said, I'd rather be chilling with my family and just hanging out, drinking a beer.
So is that what you're going to do tonight?
Yes, I actually had 2 beers last night. They were really, really good. But yeah, I'm going to definitely drink a couple more tonight.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And having a baby daughter and being a mom is a pretty awesome thing too.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's amazing. How cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, not lame
And you
at
don't
all.
get stories
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, not lame at all and just being real, you know?
Yeah. And you don't get that stories unless you get to know these people. And they're awesome. They're all so freaking awesome. To get to this point, you have to be like the top 0.1% in the world.
Right.
Like they're all just awesome people. And it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like I'm actually getting misty again.
Yeah, that was neat. I'm glad she said that. Well, you did a great job these last 2 weeks. Great coverage. And I know you're working super hard to keep this thing going. So thanks to you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and next week I'm actually staying in the same hotel as the athletes. So I'm
Oh, good.
hoping that even helps us get better access. Because Sunday's tough. Today it was a quick turnaround because they went team Indy, and you couldn't get. They had to get back to the corral so fast you couldn't get them really, and then drug testing takes them all away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. But it was a pretty big personal day for me. A lot of people that I have gotten invested with through this show or through volunteering did really well today, and it was fun to kind of watch that all come to be. So
That's awesome.
yeah, I love what we do. This was a blast.
It was fun. So have a safe trip home. Buy lots of sunscreen for next weekend because you'll be outside. And guys, if you're watching, check out all of our interviews for the Granite Games athletes. And are we going to do we're going to maybe do a round table this week? Maybe. Probably not. I don't know. We'll see. We're busy, guys.
Yeah, well, our production meeting on air again. I'm flying. I'll be there by noon.
We are interviewing Cole Greasaber during our normal roundtable time next week, 3 p.m. on Thursday.
Well, that's our roundtable.
So that will be our roundtable.
Who's Cole
Yeah.
Greasaber? Only really a really fit dude.
Yeah. Second, did he get
Who
second
killed
place
it
last
last
week?
weekend?
Third place? Yeah. Let's go to the CrossFit Games.
Yeah,
Another rookie.
Yep. Yeah, no
I'm
biggie.
excited.
Yeah, these kids are coming. These 20,
I love it.
21, 22-year-olds. Man, it's been fun. Well, we will
Yep.
see you later this week.
Sounds good.
This
Thanks,
is
Scott.
Clydesdale Fitness and Friends, Clydesdale Media Rig Report, signing off.